pitch itself, I will tell you, and every investor will tell you this, they make their decision in the first 3 minutes. Everything past 3 minutes is a gift. So if you've excited them in the first 3 minutes, they'll listen to you for the rest. But the most that you're going to get is 10 to 15. So when somebody tells you, well, you've got 10 minutes to pitch, and you're like, this is my whole life's work, and you're only giving me 10 minutes, you have to give me half an hour, right? Nobody's going to give you that. And if they do, they're not listening after the first 10 minutes anyway. So what it forces you to do, think about it as an opportunity. It forces you to figure out what's important to say, right? Huh?
What did she say?
It sounds incredibly similar from what you're propositioning and what's written and how you present yourself. Very similar to a resume and a job interview.
Exactly. It's like you really need to think about what's important to say. So the trick is not to have 30 slides and talk faster. I mean, it's a slide a minute, so you got 10 slides, right? Every single thing on your slide, I mean, and down to the word. When I taught people GE how to pitch, we get down to every single word. It's like, is that an important word? Does that make sense? Do I need to have it on the page? The other thing is when you pitch your slides, don't read them. This is a big thing, as David has learned. Do not read your slides.
Ouch.
It's a bad thing. I mean, because it's insulting. It assumes that everybody in your audience can't read, and everybody can read. It's very insulting. But you're also missing an opportunity. What I used to do is print out my slides, and I would decide the 3 things I wanted to say about the slide. And there's different views on slide decks. You know, everybody's got different views. This is mine. You know, use whatever makes sense for you. But when the slide's up there, they're absorbing the slide. So you can pick 3 things on the slide to talk about, never more than 3. Or you can pick 2 things that are on the slide, 1 thing you didn't have space to put on the slide. So you can make points that are not on the slide if you're very careful in how you do it, right? So every single slide you want to say 3 things about it. And so you really want to be careful about that. And then you want to think about who your audience is. Obviously, those are pretty straightforward. The other thing is keep in mind, some people are still old school, so a black background is a horrible thing if somebody's printing it out, right? So think about people who you're sending it to a VC, they print it out and they make 15 copies and hand it around the office and it's a black background, right? Well, you killed an ink gloss, right? I mean, these are all common sense things, but they add up, right? In frustration, when you're one of 30 deals on the table and they're figuring out where to spend their time, they're going to spend the one on that's the easiest one to do. Building slides is another problem. I hate building slides for the very same reason. When you print it out, it prints every slide that builds. So you may have a deck of 10 slides, but you build every sentence because you're trying to be like the 2nd grade teacher who doesn't trust me to read the next sentence. And so when I print it out, it's 52 slides. And I'm like, oh my God. And I can't decide which slide is important for me to even look at. So these are the things, and when you're sitting in an audience, when people have those build slides, you're spending more time hitting the button and trying to figure out when you're going to build that stupid slide. I mean, it's not worth your time. Now, there's occasionally when you might want to have a one build, you know, where you've got a slide and then you're like Xing it out and saying that's not what we're doing, we're different, something like that, that's fine. But just be cognizant of what your audience is dealing with. And think about every time you're writing it down, they got 40 deals on their plate and they're only going to look at, 1. And how do you make yours the one? So I'll stop there. Sorry, we're going long.
Great stuff.
Pound the table.
She's not warmed up yet.
I'm not even warmed up.
I've been through the Michele Weigand school. I remember a couple years ago, and I've evolved tremendously by just learning a lot of stuff from Michele and Joel. So these guys have a wealth of knowledge that's worth every entrepreneur should hear. So.
I got that. She scared me to death when she said some people are old school and black background's a terrible thing. I was like, I can't believe she's saying that.
You figure, we understand, Joel and I understand, your business plan may be the only one you've ever written, and maybe the 3rd one you've written. We get that. I've read hundreds and hundreds of business plans, seen hundreds of pitches, and you guys haven't. We're happy to share what we've learned and what works and what doesn't work with you guys, because there's no way for you to really know that when you're so embedded in your own business. And what we love is the energy you have about making your business work and how passionate you are about your business. And so what we want to do is make you more successful.
What do you do with the people that have just pitched it so many times they're sick of it?
Well, that's obvious. We have that happening in Great Plains. One of the guys who pitched it so many times, he practiced, he's in the current pipeline class, and he practiced, and did the pipeline class the day before, and I went up to him and said, dude, you're practically dead in water. It's like, you gotta get some energy. He goes, I'm so sick of this pitch. I said, I get it, but I get it.
see that.
But I can see it in your eyes. I mean, you're about to pitch to 200 potential investors. I mean, you gotta somehow figure out a way to get yourself energized every time. And it's not easy. I mean, I was involved in selling a company. We sold the company for a whole year. We pitched for a whole year to numerous sellers. And I gotta tell you, it does get old. And somehow you gotta mix it up. It's really hard. It's really, really hard. But I mean, every time you get in front of potential investors, you gotta think there's probably 4 guys in there that could cut me a check if I'm good today, you know?
And they can see it.
And they can see it. You can see it.
Absolutely.
They can see
At
it.
least the tech guys look at the audience, the bioscience guys look at the shoes.